Japan is reportedly pursuing hypersonic weapon development. On October 15, 2018, Japan's Mainichi Shimbun newspaper, as per its undisclosed sources, reported that Japan's Ministry of Defense has put in place a plan to develop and deploy hypersonic weapons. The weapons, if developed, will provide Japan with a much greater ability to counter China. This has far-reaching implications, as this signals the country is moving away from its post-World War II pacifist constitution. In this video, Defense Updates analyzes how Japan plans to deploy hypersonic weapons to counter China. Let's get into the details. Japan and China have a dispute regarding the ownership of Senkaku Islands in the East China Sea. Currently, it's controlled by Japan. On the 23rd of November 2013, China set up the East China Sea Air Defense Identification Zone, which includes the Senkaku Islands. All aircraft entering the zone have to file a flight plan and submit radio frequency or transponder information. China also claims almost all the South China Sea and has recently installed new anti-aircraft and anti-ship defenses on some of its man-made outposts in the South China Sea. Like many other countries, Japan favors freedom of navigation since it's a very important sea route. Japan is also concerned about the long-term ambition of China, which has been expanding its military rapidly. Overall, it can be said that China's behaviors have been pushing Japan to the corner. According to Japan's constitution, it's a pacifist country. Article 9 states that the Japanese people forever renounce war and the threat or use of force. Japanese Prime Minister Abe had reiterated his intention to change this and add laws that will enable the Japanese military to take a more hawkish stance. New laws introduced by him allow a much broader interpretation of what can be done by Japan's self-defense forces and whatnot. A move to develop hypersonic missiles clearly indicates that Japan is now taking steps to militarily counter China. Hypersonic speed is defined as objects traveling above Mach 5. Hypersonic weapons are put into two categories: cruise missiles and boost glide vehicles. Hypersonic cruise missiles use scramjet engines to propel themselves. Scramjet engines are an advanced derivative of ramjet engines, which power supersonic cruise missiles like BrahMos. Russia is the first country to deploy a hypersonic cruise missile, with its Kinzhal missile having a stated speed of Mach 10. In boost glide vehicle technique, a rocket is used to propel a vehicle having the warhead to the appropriate speed and altitude, after which it glides back down to Earth unpowered. The vehicle generally has small fins which are used for maneuvering through the air. Japan is taking the boost glide vehicles approach. Hypersonic weapons are almost impossible to intercept due to their high velocity and are very destructive because of their high kinetic energy. The first mention of hypersonic weapon was in Annual Defense White Paper that came out in August of 2018. The program is designated as the Hypervelocity Gliding Projectile, HVGP, and it will have two types of separate designs. As per Mainichi Shimbun, the first design will be a conical boost glide vehicle, whereas the second type will use a flatter talon-shaped vehicle. Viewers may note that the conical shaped vehicle is easier to develop, but it's suitable for ranges up to approximately 500 kilometers. The talon-shaped vehicle is much more complex to design, but will enable much greater strike envelope. The first type is expected to be developed by 2026 and the second type by 2028. Japan's Ministry of Defense has allocated more than $40 million in the 2018 fiscal year for hypersonic weapon development and has requested more than $120 million to continue that work in the upcoming 2019 fiscal cycle. According to the Ministry of Defense's white paper, the HVGP program's primary stated objective is the development of a weapon for the defense of remote islands, which can glide at high velocity and attack a target in order to enable island-to-island firing. Japan's latest missiles have a range of less than 200 kilometers, and hence, even if these are deployed in islands close to Senkakus like Okinawa, they won't be able to counter any attempted takeover of Senkakus. If the planned hypersonic weapons are deployed in the future, they'll act as a serious deterrence against any Chinese misadventures.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more videos like this. Hit the like button if you find the video interesting, and kindly provide your feedback in the comment section. This will help us improve.